Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, the 30th of July. Month's almost over, guys. Can you imagine? This year is just flying by. Today is Tuesday, which means it's Technique Tuesday. And so I go live at 2 o'clock at this time every single Tuesday, unless I guess something comes up. But so far, we've pretty much done every Tuesday since last November. And every week we have a different technique, something that you could use in your paper craft, whether that be card making, scrapbooking, or something else. So today we're kind of having a bit of a play, and some of you may have seen the title of the YouTube video. Did anyone notice it? And it's something I've done before. So some years ago I did, and I should have looked up to see when, probably maybe 3 years ago, 3 or 4, I did some backgrounds with the bubble wrap technique. And I'm going to do it again today, but I'm going to show you a few different ways to do it. I noticed that Stampin' Up official on their Instagram page, because they've been posting a lot of techniques there lately, and I noticed that they posted one. Alana Worf, who's a member of the Artisan Design team, she posted the bubble wrap technique, but it was using white ink and re-inkers and embossing. I will show you one embossing technique, but I'm not using white ink. So I'm going to show you some different ways to get some really great effects with bubble wrap. So one of my really favorite things to do that I think is a lot of fun is repurposing household items in your crafting. Okay, so things that everybody has, so I'm just trying to think some things that we've done in the past. We've used Glad wrap. We've used tissue paper. We've done all sorts of different things to create different effects. And we might still do some of those another day. But I'm going to be using bubble wrap today to create some really fun backgrounds. And I'm going to show you a few different ones and you probably will see really quickly what my favorite is. So I'm just looking at all the comments. Hello, everyone. I see that, Margaret, you were here nice and early, but you were off to go to occupational therapy. So how did that go? Did you go see the physio and get all that done? I hope you're back. Sheila was here early as well. And then Donna, you guys were doing a countdown. But I see that we've got a lot of the regulars here. If you are new to this group, oh, hello, Gina. How are you? If you're new to this group, please pop in and say hello and let us know where you're watching from, because that's always fun. We've got people that watch from all over the world, and it's a lot of fun to actually find out where everybody is. And then some people find out that they're close to somebody else, and that's always a surprise. So super nice. Nicole's here from WA. And Suzanne, you've got the moon boot on for another month. It'll go quick. Well, it probably won't while you're in the middle of it, but when you look back on it, it'll seem like it didn't take a lot of time. But right now, hello, Janine. Nice to see you there. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Chris. Hello, Maria. It's cold in Brisbane. Well, it's cold everywhere today, I think, because I saw a couple of people commenting it was cold in Sydney and cold in Melbourne. Certainly cold here on the Central Coast. It's been sort of overcast and a bit miserable looking all day, and I had it just finished, actually, a lovely big bowl of soup. I made myself a lentil and like a Moroccan lentil soup for lunch, and it was delicious, but just what the doctor ordered, right, on a cold day. So soup and toast is what I like to eat when I'm cold. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up, Margaret. That's great. Marilyn's asking what's the weather like in Florida, Ronnie. You might have already have got to that question. I'm just scrolling through. Yes, you did answer that question. Excellent. You've got your dressing gown on. My daughter had to go to a fancy dress party last weekend, and she went as Scary Spice. And to get ready for that, she did her hair Scary Spice style, up in little top knot things. But on the bottom half, she had a pair. She found at an op shop a pair of fluffy leopard print pants. And of course, now she's been to the fancy dress party, she doesn't want them anymore. So guess who's got a brand new pair of leopard print pants? So they're real fluffy. They look like pajamas, but I'm at home, so who cares, right? And I really love them. They're really fun to wear. So there you go. That's my funny little secret today. Let's make craft from the kitchen utensils. There you go. Well, there's all sorts of things you can do. Like we're talking about maybe doing some bow tying with forks at some point too. So, everyone's got forks in their kitchen, right? Although you do need a special kind of fork, and I'll go over that another Technique Tuesdays. But today we're playing with bubble wrap. Chris said it's foggy in Melbourne, was it? Ah, I'm looking at all the different comments, and it's lovely to have everybody here. So let's get started. I'll switch over to the desk. Here we go. Just looking at my mat, I need to give it a bit of a clean. Just looking, I've been so busy cleaning. I actually have been cleaning in my craft room today, and I just noticed the state of my mat, and that's not very good halfway through a video, but I'll get that sorted by the time we go live again. So that's on my list. All right. So obviously, to do a bubble wrap technique, you're going to need some bubble wrap, and any bubble wrap is fine. Okay. So I've got some bubble wrap. I actually save bubble wrap off parcels and things that I get. I never throw it away. Well, unless it's really messed up, but I know I'm going to be able to do fun things with it. Not the least of which is popping the bubbles, right? Who loves popping bubble wrap? I love popping bubble wrap, but you actually need it. You need it unpopped for this technique. So you need the air in your bubbles. So don't go through and pop it all, even though that is heaps and heaps of fun, right? Oh, good, Colette. I'm so glad. It's a little early to say you're enjoying it. Oh, you like my leopard print pants? Glenda, thank you so much. I like them too. They're fun. They make me happy. And they're made of like they're like plush toy material, you know, that real furry, fluffy stuff, and super fun to wear around the house. All right, so I've got my bubble wrap here. All right, so I'm going to do a few different ways that you can use bubble wrap. And the easiest way is the one I'm going to do first. I'm just actually going to cut myself a piece of, this is just very vanilla, but you could use any color. And I actually did this earlier, so I'd have a sample to show you. And sometime between then and now, I've managed to lose my sample. So I'm going to do it again. That's not a problem because we need to see how to do it anyway, right? So what we want to do is we want to cut. Now, you don't have to worry about, if you want to cover the whole thing, you just need to cut a piece that's bigger than the cardstock that you're going to be going onto. But I'm just going to cut along here. I'm going to cut this whole section off. So I'm just using... and yes, should I be using my ribbon scissors? Probably not, although at least it's not sticky or anything. You don't want to cut ribbon. You don't want to use ribbon scissors to cut anything that's sticky. Bubble wrap isn't sticky, but I'm just going to use regular scissors for this. All right. Okay, so it just needs to be a bit wider than my piece and then a little bit longer as well. So let's pop it under here. So it's nice and easy to see because, of course, it's see-through. So it's an easy thing to cut and to work with. All right, so it's just a bit bigger. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to measure it. Okay, now for this to work, okay, we're wanting to put our ink. This is, and actually I see that this one has actually got a bit of, it won't matter, but there's a bit of sticky tape actually holding this in, so it's not actually all, but I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm just going to grab some ink. Now, when you're using whatever color ink you choose, make sure that your ink pad is relatively juicy. You don't want it to be dry because then you're not going to get much of an effect. All right, and I'm just literally going to drag my ink over the bubbly side. So not the flat side. The flat side needs to be down, but we want the bubbly side. And you can, you know, keep going and you can see that the ink is going onto the bubbles. It doesn't look like it's very dark, but that doesn't matter. And if you really want it to be darker, you can pat it on. Okay, that will leave a bit more because when you're wiping, you're actually wiping it off as well a little bit. All right, so just I hope you can see that the ink is on my bubble wrap. And I can go either way. I can either put it down and put my paper on top, or I can turn this over and just press it onto the paper. All right, so I'm just going to hold it down, I'm going to press it on, and it gives me a nice, like a mottled kind of a look. And like I said, I've done this lots of times over the years. This is the simplest way to do it. And you're just literally going to put it down. And then you could use this as a background and have a good old play around with it. Okay, so it's a lot of fun. Now I can also cut pieces out. Earlier I cut, and I'll need to wipe this up. So just give me a second. I'll use my cleaning cloth and get that cleaned up because you don't want to leave the ink sitting on the glass mat there, which ends up all over every other project, which is not good. All right, so now that I've got this on here, I could use that as a background. That's Mossy Meadow, Leslie. Do you know what? Mossy Meadow, it is not my favorite green to look at, but it is the green that I use the most. Hello, Michelle. How is Abu Dhabi today? Is it hot over there? What is the weather like in the Middle East? I'm very interested to know. So this is just a fun thing, and I think because everyone has bubble wrap at home, it's very easy to source. So you haven't got to go looking for any special equipment. Just use it with your ink pads, right? So yeah, mossy meadow, and this is if we bring it up, look how nice. Can you see the texture that we're getting in there? It's super nice, that texture. All right. Your daughter and the cats love to play with the brown paper. Yeah, I know. It was nice having brown paper. I tell you what, those useless airbags, they're easy to deal with. I liked when we used to get the really, really big bubble wrap that used to come in, because you could actually do fun techniques with that too. But the big, like you said, useless airbags, we can't do much with those. So you are correct. 50 degrees. Ah, okay. There you go. And I'm assuming you're talking about, are you talking about, surely you're not talking about Celsius, okay? Surely. Are you? I'm a bit worried about that number, because 50 degrees Celsius would be super hot, whereas 50 degrees Fahrenheit, not so much. All right. So if I wanted to, I could cut a piece out of this, like with one of my stitch shapes dies, and I could just pop that right there, and then I'd have this lovely stitch shape square that I could work with. I'm just going to set that to one side at the moment. We might come back to it again, but I'll see. All right, so let's try a different technique. This one, I don't know whether you can see this, but can you see that it's shiny? This one is actually, and same thing again, we could cut shapes out of this or whatever we would like to do. Now, I mentioned that on the Stampin' Up official's Instagram site that they had done it with white ink, okay, and that's a different technique again, because they've already talked about that one. No, unless anyone particularly wants to see it, that's where you add re-inker to some of your white ink and then use that to heat emboss, and it looks better, I think, on a darker color, because the white sort of stands out against the darker color, unless you're adding yeah, I still would use it on a darker color. Now, if you're going on a light color, this is actually, what color do you think this is? What color do you think I've used to do this? Oh, it's hot. So it is 50 degrees Celsius. Seriously, that is too hot. I hope you're staying nice and cool. Yes, stay indoors, definitely. Wow. Wow, that's so hot. All right. Anyone want to guess what color this is? So I've actually cut this. Let's see. I've cut this to be, it's roughly 9.5 centimeters. So let's throw, actually I might do this end. Nope. So the actual cardstock itself is crumb cake. You can see I've written on the back. So I didn't forget what I'd done, but actually I don't forget, so that's all right. Oh, good, Linda. That's great. Thank you very much. No, not cherry cobbly, not rich raspberry, but you're getting close, Gina. Yeah, rich raspberry is actually retired. That one retired last year, I think. But there was a color that I use a lot in place of rich raspberry. And the color would be this. So if I wanted to have, I'm going to make this. Did I say that was 9.5? I think I did. Yep. Yep, blackberry. You are right. That is correct, Sharon, and that is correct, Leslie. You are correct. So the reason it looks so light on there, though, is because I have used Versamark, and then I've used my blackberry over the top. So let's do that. Let's cut ourselves. We've got this piece already started here, and I'm going to just grab my scissors again and just cut off the end. The other thing is, once you've used it and it's got ink on it, like this one's got the green. If I'm not going to use that again to do another piece, fold it over and put it in the bin. You don't want to accidentally pick it up and get it, get ink all over things that you don't want to get ink on. So make sure that you dispose of that accordingly. So I'm just going to cut this down a little bit. Right, so you can feel which is the bubbly side and which is the flat side. We want the flat side down. This time I'm going to come in with my Versamark. Yeah, Blackberry Bliss, one of my favorite colors. I love Blackberry Bliss. I love how it looks with crumb cake and grey granite and those kind of neutrally colors. And I love it with copper. Also, another really interesting, if you haven't tried it, Blackberry Bliss looks really good with petal pink and copper. So I'm actually with my Versamark, I am tapping or dabbing my ink onto the bubbles rather than trying to drag it across, because if you drag it, you'll definitely wipe some of that off. And I want it to be as inky as possible, because now that I've got my Versamark on there, all right, now I'm going to grab my ink pad. Should we do a different color maybe, seeing as we've already got a sample of Blackberry Bliss? Let's pick a different color. Just for fun, I'm going to go Night of Navy, and I'm going to dab my Night of Navy over. Now just dab, don't wipe, because you'll wipe some of the Versamark off and some of the ink as well. All right, so now I've got that on there, and you can well and truly see that it's there. And I was thinking, you know what color would look really good with that? Would be some basic beige. Actually, I'm going to go, no, we'll go that way. Pick it up, pop it down, pop your fingers all over it. I probably should have used my embossing buddy, because I'm going to be embossing this, but it doesn't really matter. It's such an imprecise technique that it doesn't really matter if you do get stray bits of powder anywhere. So if you want a cleaner look, you could use your embossing buddy, but this is to give us lots of texture, so we really don't care too much. All right, so this, I think bubble wrap is all about just playing. You can see I've missed some here. That looks fine. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to wipe off my mat again. Okay. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in my embossing editions kit. Now, if you don't have one of these, it's not the end of the world, but that's how you get an embossing buddy. It comes with this kit. You've got white. If I put white over this, we're going to lose all of our navy. So we want to use clear because we want the navy to show. All right, now this is going to be quite a bit darker than the Blackberry Bliss that I used earlier, and I think it's just because I tapped it all over and really went back and gave it a good old press. All right, so I'm going to tap this down so it makes good contact with all of my panel. You can see I'm kind of tapping it around. All right. Like that. And then I'm going to put my clear embossing powder back into the tub. Who's a big fan of embossing? Heat embossing. Still one of the first techniques that I learned back in the early days that was a wow for me. And it's always fun to do something that you just think, gosh, it looks so good. And it's not a huge amount of effort, really. It's a little bit of fiddling around. Here's my piece. If I was going to do multiple pieces, I could come in and re-ink that and do it again, but I'm not. So I'm going to make sure I put it away where I won't get it all over everything. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my heat tool. I'm going to bring that in. Ah, okay. Does that make sense now, Sheila? Yes. If you went the other way around, you'd end up with ink in your pad, right? So you don't want that. So you want to ink the Versamark first and then colour. All right, so it just takes a moment for it to heat up, and then you're going to see it start to darken up. It's going to be, you'll see it very easily as soon as it gets hot. Come on. It's just starting to go. And it does take, if you're doing a bigger panel, it takes a bit of time to heat. But now it's going a bit more. Can you see it getting darker? Now, it's not as dark as if we had just used Night of Navy by itself, but you have that lovely shiny embossed look to it. So if you don't need it to be dark, I think embossing is a good alternative. I'm not going to worry too much about the edges because I'm going to cut a shape out of this. You could use it as a background panel, but I wanted to cut something out of mine. Oh, hey, Lani. Nice to see you there. You love to heat and emboss? That's cool, Roz. And Suzanne said the same. And Leslie said it's like magic. It absolutely is. And I think that's why so many of us got hooked on it early on, right? Because we went, it's just so striking. You know how I said I wasn't going to do the whole panel? I kind of am. Now I can see I've missed a bit in the middle, so I'm going to go back and do that. It needs to all be shiny, and any bits that aren't shiny, the powder can still rub off. So you want to go back, hold it in the light so you can see where the light is hitting all of these. And if there's any bits that it's not hitting, that may mean that your powder is not cooked in that spot. There's another bit there. There it goes. I think I just about got it. All right, happy with that. All right, so once again, you can see we're getting lots and lots of texture, and the crinkles in the bubbles come out in the color. Can you see the crinkles? I love that. It's super, super cute texture, and it's lovely and shiny. I agree, Jen. Both heat and dry embossing, both of them are fantastic. I agree, Nicole. So Nicole's saying the first wow wonder of stamping, heat embossing with powder. Agreed. That's true. And Joseph's coat technique is something we might do another day, something else. Or sometimes people call that, what's it called? I've forgotten the name. There's another name for that. There's another term, and I've completely forgotten. All right, so I'm going to cut. We could use a square, but I'm thinking maybe of using a circle and just cutting a piece out of this, and just pick the piece that you like the best. That looks good down there, or, you know, maybe we like some of this texture over here. But I'm just going to quickly run that through my machine. Popping it on. I'm not even going to bring it in. I'm just going to cut it quickly at the desk behind me. And then we could use that piece for whatever we like, really. So that's super nice, isn't it? See how it's come up all shiny now? Can you see that? Looks really good. Black ice technique. No, not that one. No. Black ice technique is great. And that's another one we haven't done recently. I have done it many times before, but not for a long time. And that's actually one of the fun things for me about doing all these techniques, is I keep on doing techniques that I haven't tried for ages, and it's like new fun with old techniques, you know. So it's really been great to try lots of these things, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to cut this at 8 centimeters and 8 by 12. 8 by 12 is a good size that I often use on a card front. This is Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Okay, so no, not Technicolor. What have I missed? Have I missed anyone who got it? I have got the Wow powder, but I haven't used it yet, Sheila. Yeah, it is a bit like honeycomb, isn't it? That's true. It's a bit like that. I'm just looking at all the... No, none of those. Oh, I'm so annoyed that I can't think what the technique is called. Anyway, all right. Now, this is Fluid 100, which means we're going to be doing this with a watercolor kind of a look to it. All right. And I'll show you. Here's one I prepared earlier. Okay. So this is a panel I did with the watercolor paper, and you can see that it's run a little bit. It looks really different, doesn't it? I mean, look at the difference between these. This one, you got all the texture coming through of the plastic, which looks great. This one, you completely lose the texture of the plastic, but we have like little ragged edges of all of our, this is, okay, you probably know this is my favorite one. I love doing this with watercolor paper. So you've got a couple of choices. The wetter you can wet your paper first, or you can just do the technique and spritz after. Okay, so in fact, there's 3 different ways. You can spritz after. This one's been spritzed a little bit after to make the colors run a little bit. But the other way I like to do it, and I'll just show you the basic, is we're going to do this panel. So let me cut. Do I have any more piece left over there? I do have, and that's going to be big enough. Look at that. Woohoo. All right, so I'm going to be putting my colors on. Now, I did this one with Pretty Peacock and Summer Splash. No, not the kissing technique. Gosh, so many techniques we haven't done yet, guys. We'll be able to do this every Tuesday for a long, long time. No, it's not. Emerging color. That's what it is. I just remembered it's emerging color. So it's where you've got, you emboss clear and then apply your dark. So it's a bit like the Technicolor coat, the Joseph's Dream Coat one. It's a bit like that, but it's called emerging color. All right, I'm thinking I'm going to get you guys to tell me what colors. I'm going to use 2 colors on this, and I'm wondering what 2 colors you would like me to use. Let's see what wisdom you guys have got, and let's see what we can come up with. Emerging color is the name of the technique I was trying to remember. All right, what 2 colors would you guys like to see together? Lemon and daffodil, those are very close together. I'd like to use 2 a little bit more different colors. I mean, maybe orange and yellow. Yellow and orange, that might work. I know, so many techniques, so many. Gorgeous Grape and Highland Heather, they're nice, but I was thinking maybe something a little more different. Daffodil and orange. All right, I think that's what we'll do. I think we'll go daffodil and pumpkin pie. So let's pull those 2 out. I've actually got a brand new pumpkin pie ink pad that I haven't even opened yet. So it's high time I opened it. What do you think? For anyone who's never opened one of our ink pads, okay, this is pretty basic, but this is how you would go about it. First of all, you want to remove the outside plastic, obviously. And then on the bottom of the ink pad, you'll see there is a panel here. Now, this is actually a sticker panel. This little thing here means that you can pick it up from that corner to actually remove the panel, okay? You can see it's in different languages. So we have it in French and German. And, well, it says pumpkin pie there twice. So is it pumpkin pie in another language? Does anyone know? Let me have a look at others. Let me see. Like, for example, this one is, yeah, well, this has been around for a while. This one's got the Japanese on it. Remember, we used to be in Japan and they're not now. So that one's got, but it's got cherry cobbler, cerise cumin, and chili, and then in Japanese as well. But yeah, that's an older one. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the one that says pumpkin pie, because that's the language I want to use. I'm going to peel that off. All right, I might as well leave the others on for now. I'm going to turn to the front of the pad, which is down near the Stampin' Up symbol, and I'm going to put that right there along the front of my pad. This helps me see which color is which when I'm looking at my pads straight on. So if they're all stacked up one on top of the other in the storage, I can see at a glance which one is which without having to actually pull them out and see. Okay, so the color is on here. There's also down the bottom here a blank one. I don't know if you've seen these. That is, if you want to, you can use that as well. You don't have to, but some people like to when your pad is open. Okay, let's open it up. All right. See how there's a little channel in here? So just say your pad is open and you've got like 3 or 4 pads and they're all open, sitting there waiting to be used. sometimes it's hard to tell which one is which from the color of the ink on the pad. So by having this color, or you could use the one that says, the other one that says pumpkin pie, if you put that in the channel, it's a bit tricky to put it in, I find, but I'm just going to move it in there. And now I can see at a glance that I've got pumpkin in that ink pad without actually having to close the lid or look around the other side to see. So I could have them all sitting there and straight away it's obvious to me which one is which. Do you do that too, Ronnie? It does help, I know, right? All right, so when we are doing this, I'm actually going to start with the lightest color, and I suggest that you do as well. You see I've got my yellow piece in there. Mind you, this ink pad's pretty easy to see that it's yellow, right? All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tap or wipe my color on, okay, on half of my paper. And then use your darker color to do the other half. I did see Alana's tutorial. She did like this tutorial on Instagram, and what she did was she used the colors with sponge daubers and applied sponge daubers to the paper, and that's another way to do it as well. That's a little bit trickier, but not still easy. So I'm just doing mine half and half. And if you want to add a bit more color somewhere, you can dab it a bit harder. That does look a bit better. So we've got yellow on half and orange on half, right? I'm just going to clean up a little bit as I go. Move that. Get rid of any ink that's gone over onto the desk. And then I'm going to put my, now don't forget, if you want this to run a bit, you can spritz your paper before you start, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to put it so that my piece is positioned over, and then you can put your hands across it. If you want it, and this is something I like to do, if you want it to be wetter when it hits the paper, use a spritzer before you make your impression. Okay, so actually spray over, and when you use the spritzer, you'll see the color darken up a bit. How wet you do it is up to you. Obviously, the wetter you do, the more the color is going to run. That's fine. And we'll pop that on there, and then we'll impress it. And because it's watercolor paper holds water really well. That's the whole point of it. So you don't need to worry that it's going to overwhelm your paper or make it go crinkly. It won't. The paper will hold the water just fine. All right, let's have a look. And here it is. All right, so can you see that we don't have that detail like we did with the other inks, but the color runs more around the edges of the circles. I love this. I think it looks fantastic, and it always looks good. You can pick any colors that you think might look good together. I'm just going to get that a little bit cleaned up. Any colors that look well together. And if you want it to run more, you can spritz it after the event. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That's fine. All right. The funny thing is, the one that I did a few years ago, I actually used Brushos. Do you remember the Brusho powders we used to have? And I sprinkled my powder over the bubble wrap and then sprayed it with water, and that made the color run. And I did yellow, orange, and red. So this is a little bit similar to that, actually. All right, so I'm going to grab some pumpkin pie cardstock. And let's see if that color would be good. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be good. Or we could even go up darker. We could go up to, say, Poppy Parade. That would look really nice as well. But let's just stick with this for now. It does look good, doesn't it, Jenny? I think so too. All right, so I'm going to make this 1/2 centimeter bigger on each side. So this is 8 by 12. So this will be 8.5 by 12.5, just to make a panel for it to go onto. And let's make a card with this. All right, so I'm going to turn this over, and you can see the color runs around. That's not a problem. That's just how watercolor paper reacts to the water. The water will sort of run around to the back. making sure that I have enough Tombow. This one's getting pretty low, but I'm going to get as much out of it as I possibly can. So if ever you can't get it out, give it a good old tap, because sometimes, and maybe sit it upright too, so that the color runs down. Sometimes that's why I keep these cups here on my desk, so I can keep that upside down if I need to. Just helps the glue run down to the bottom. All right, so let's pop this in here. All right, it's looking good. All right, I am going to give it a quick blast with my heat tool, only because it's still a bit damp, a bit wet, so I'd rather work with it when it's dry. So I'm just going to dry it off. Now, for anyone wondering, Craft Along is our monthly class that we do with a particular theme in mind, and that's tomorrow. So if you want to watch again, I'll be live again at 2 o'clock tomorrow for Craft Along, and that is this month we're doing a Christmas in July theme, and I've got a super cool project that we're going to make together tomorrow. So do you need to dry it first? It's up to you, Sheila. If you dry, I like to work with it when it's dry. I could have dried it before I put it onto the piece at the back, but it doesn't really matter. Some black bees stamped on it. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Or some black dies, little bees dies. Do you remember we had the we've had a couple of, we had that honey home, was it called honey home or something like that? Yes, anyone can watch Craft Along. It's a public video. So yes, anyone can watch, but people who ordered with me last month received supply packs to make the project, but I find a lot of people just watch anyway and then maybe make it up later with their own suppliers, or if they've got the things I sent them, then they make them up later with those. All right, so I'm going to grab myself a basic white cardstock piece. Let me see if I've got one here. Actually, these are all basic white, not basic white thick, and I like to use basic white thick for my card bases, so I'm going to grab one off the shelf. Basic white and is my preferred color to work, my preferred cardstock for card bases. Of course, it does depend on what color card I'm doing, but I do a lot of white. See that I've still got a bit of yellow there. All right. So I'm just going to use my bone folder here to go over. All right. And then this piece is going to go on here like this. I'm going very simple with this today because it's, you know, not about coming up with the cleverest, most amazing card ever. It's about showing you how to use bubble wrap. But who has never tried working with bubble wrap for their cards? Who's never tried it? You pre-cut a heap? I know, I pre-cut them and I use them so fast I run out of them again. So I pre-cut them usually before a big class. Okie doke. Right. I like having the light color at the top, but you know, it's totally up to you which one you want to have. I do change it up sometimes. All right, so my background is done. Oh, we do have a bee set, you know. We have this one. We don't have a stamp. We don't have a die set for it anymore. There was a die set originally, but there's a little bee here, and there's the beautiful queen bee herself, which is absolutely gorgeous. So that would look really, really nice on a card like this. Doesn't have to be, but could be. I'm saying the word bee a lot, aren't I? Sorry. All right, so I'm just looking. I think maybe a circle on here would be nice. And I'm thinking maybe, there's the word bee again. Oh my gosh. Now I can't stop saying it. This is peach pie glimmer. Wouldn't that look nice with this? So let's cut that out of there. That would look really good. And then we'll have a white circle in the middle with our greeting on it. And we want to have a nice big greeting. So I'm deciding what greeting to have. So if anyone's wondering, the Queen Bee set is still available, but not the dies. They actually got rid of the dies, which is very sad because I really love the dies. But the Queen Bee set, as far as I know, is still around, still available. So I'm going to have a smaller circle inside that. Okay, and then this is going to go inside here. I'm just looking at your comments. Sorry, guys. Now, you could, of course, stamp this and cut it by hand. And you could do that with the Big B too. And some of you may be lucky enough to have bought that set when it was around. I'm deciding what colour I'm going to stamp my greeting in and what set will I use. We've got so many good sets that work with this kind of a theme. I'm after a happy sentiment because I think this is it's a good, I don't want a sad, I don't want a thinking of you for this. I want something really happy. We've got this one, something the simplest things mean the most. That's nice. Indeed. I think messy fun is some of the best fun, right? And, you know, you can usually keep it contained, usually. All right, I am looking. There is a birthday blooms for you, but I feel like it would need flowers, I really think. And then we have a thanks so much here with the tropical leaf set. That would be nice. And a thanks for all you do with the timeless charm. Some of these are online exclusive sets, so you won't have seen them in a catalogue. Handwrite be happy. Wow. Yes, I could, but I wanted to use a stamp. Sheila, is that a poem you're quoting there? What about Be My Valentine? Be My Valentine. That would work, wouldn't it? And then we really would need, I would need to cut the little B. There's a you'll always be the one for me. That would be nice. How about you'll always be the one for me? Let's try that. And I'm thinking, where is it? You'll always be the one for me. And you make my heart buzz. That's another nice one. So there's you'll always be the one for me, which would fit really nicely on that circle. Or there's the you make my heart buzz. All right, let's go with that. And I'm going to pop that. Probably could have gone with a smaller block, but that's okay. And I'm going to go with pumpkin pie. Actually, I could go with pumpkin pie, or I could go, if I'm going to end up stamping a bee and cutting it out, then I probably want to do that in black. Would I want the greeting in black or the greeting in pumpkin? What do you guys think? Because I could go either way. Use the word from Be Mine and the word happy. So you mean this word happy from the Queen Bee? And the Be Mine, be happy. All right, let's do it. I like that idea. That's a great idea. Be Mine is this one. So there's a couple of ways I can do this. Let me show you an easy masking way if you want to use part of sentiment. I'm just using some washi tape. Most of us have got washi tape hanging around from years gone by, and I've just picked out one. Let me just find the end of it. That's the hardest thing you have to do, right? Oh, maybe I won't be able to find the end of it. I can't find it. You know when you run your fingernails over it and you're waiting to feel that little ridge? Can't feel it at all. So I'll just grab a different one. A couple of years ago, we had these sparkly ones. Do you remember these? These were fun. We had those. I loved them. All right, I'm going to put this washi tape here over the word mine. And I see we've got a little dot of an eye there as well. So just going to completely cover that. And did we decide we want black? Okay, all right, I'm going to close up my pumpkin. And I was thinking we could make a bee, couldn't we, with the... All right, before I do that, I'm going to use the word happy first. So here's the word happy. And I'm going to use my Memento ink, which is a black water-based ink. And we're going to pop the happy right there, just below the center line. Like so. And then we're going to go in here with the B, making sure I've got that well and truly. And then now that I've done that, I'm going to take my washi tape off, which means I've got no color on the word, on the mine bit. And then we're going to put B right there. There we go. What do we think? Do we like be happy? Are we happy with that? See, I listen to you guys. Oh, really? Well, I usually can as well, but that one had me stumped, Nicole. All right, on the back here, I'm going to pop some dimensionals. Now, when it comes to sticking on glitter paper or glimmer paper, you do not want to use any glue other than either glue dots or dimensionals. They're the only ones that really work. The multi-purpose glue or Tombow doesn't work as well. Your tape won't work on it either. So you really want to have dimensionals or glue dots for those. All right, so that's going to end up right about there. Okay, so I'm worried that if I did a bee, like a bee, this bee, that it's going to be too big. That's what I'm worried about. Do you think it's going to be too big? I'm just finding my bee punch. Mixed font is always fun. I agree. I love a mixed font. Yeah, Scotch tape will work as well. I use washi tape because it's easy usually to, you know, to peel it off. But Scotch tape would also work. Yep. Small bee. Yeah, I think it's going to be too... I would like to make the little bee out of the punch, but I think that's its body size. I think it's going to be too big for this card. So what we can do instead, let me just grab a piece of basic white. And I'm going to come in here with the Queen Bee set, which is over here. And let me grab this little guy. We'll put him on a small block. Actually, I'm going to use a tiny, tiny block, but if you don't have block A, block B would be fine as well. Because we don't sell A anymore. A is no longer. We have B, C, D, E, F, H, and that's it, because I is also gone. So they've got rid of the biggest long one, not the big one, not the F, which is the background stamp size. It's a cute little bee. Isn't that a cute little bee? So I'm going to cut this out by hand. Grab a pair of scissors, and it won't take long, but before I cut it out, it's actually easier to color before you do that. So I'm just going to use some dark lemon lolly And I'm going to colour the little flower in. It's just with my blends. And I'm going to use pumpkin pie for the centre of the flower. I know. Can you see that very well? Well, come on, camera. Stop blurring. I can't. I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it. All right. And it's easier to cut around it first and then come in, and you want to, if you're going to cut out something like this, you want to leave a little bit of a gap between the actual shape and your cut line. It's much more forgiving. If you cut right on the line, it can end up looking like children's cutting, not yours, and it will look much better. The other thing is, when you're cutting, move your paper more than you move your scissors. So I'm actually leaving my scissors fairly much in the same position and moving my paper, and that gives me a smoother cut line. How are we going? We're still under the hour. We're doing good. I try and keep these Technique Tuesdays to an hour if I can, just because I'm trying to, you know, I know we've got a lot of people here from like the US who are probably looking at going to bed soon. And I feel like if I take too long to show a technique, people might lose interest. Whereas when we're doing Friday and Sunday nights, it's more just, let's see how this goes and see what happens. All right, so I've got my little bee here now. What do we think? Do we like him? I think he looks good. I think he needs to be on a dimensional or two, so a mini dimensional would be right for him. So I'm going to just pop a couple of minis behind. And let's take the backs off those. Does anyone have any questions for me? Oh yes, wink on the wings. That would be really nice. I'd have to buy, I must remember on my next order, which is going in the next day or so, I must get some more Wink Stella because mine is seriously on its way out. I do have another one. Let me see if this one's any better. I was trying to, yeah, this one's better. So Wink on the wings. I don't know that it's particularly outstanding, but it does look nice. I know that it's got Wink Stella on its wings. Can we see it? Probably not in this camera light. All right. Now, it's up to you if you put this on flat or if you put it on dimensionals. I'm just going to put it on flat because we've actually already got dimensionals between the glitter and the white. So I'm thinking that might be enough. I want it to go over this edge a little bit. Now, the last question I have for you is, do we think we need a little bit of ribbon here? And if we were going to use ribbon, I would be thinking about doing my beloved stripy trim. So I don't know if we need a ribbon or not, but I'm just going to tie a bow while you guys tell me if you think it needs a ribbon. And if I do a bow, it will need to be a very small bow, but it might not need it. But let's see. Now, the nice thing about this ribbon is because it's white, you can color it any color. So if you wanted to make it yellow or orange, you could, although I'm not going to bother on this occasion. I'm making the little loops as small as I can, so it's not, otherwise it would be overwhelming. No bow, black dots. Do you know we don't have black dots anymore? Did you know this, Glenda? Black dots are a thing of the past in our current catalogue, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. I could be mistaken. Someone can fill me in if I'm mistaken. All right, so that's what the bow would look like if it was going to go there. It's not bad, and I would have to trim it off, obviously. Let me grab my ribbon scissors. That ribbon's due back the week of August 5th. That's in America. Here, it was out of stock in Australia, and it's come back in. So my suggestion is anyone who loves this ribbon, you want to jump in and grab it while it's around, because I have a feeling it's one of those that's going to go in and out of stock all year because it's so beautiful and everyone loves it. Right, so that's how the ribbon would look on there. It's not bad. Yes, you could color rhinestones black, although I feel like they would probably look more grey than black. Suzanne says she likes the bow. Julianne says no bow. Katrina says no bow. Maggie, no bow. No ribbon, says Kerry. No bow, says Glenda. Okay, so looks as... Oh, and Suzanne really likes the ribbon. Thanks, Suzanne. I like it too, but I'm going to take it off because everyone else is saying that we shouldn't use the ribbon. So let me see what other dots or what other bling would work really well, because I do have lots to pick from. So let's have a look and see. So we have yellow, but I feel like that's going to be too much yellow. I feel like we need something with contrast. And something shiny would be nice. So far, nothing's really presented itself, has it? We do have peach pie, but that might, that probably would look okay, actually. Peach pie dots in the, the gems, the glitter gems. And I've used up, would you believe I have used up all of my gold metallic gems. I've ordered more, but I've used up all the ones that I had because of Craft Along. You see, these are not right. None of these are right. So probably the best ones in this offering that I have here is the peach pie, actually. I see I'm missing some comments. Yes, definitely needs some bling. Oh, iridescent faceted. Yeah, those would look okay. I have those. So this is the peach pie gems, which would look okay, but they might get a bit lost in the background. But you're right. The iridescent gems, look, here they are. These would stand out. So I like that idea. Good suggestion. Sparkle gems. I don't think I have. Do I have those? I don't think I do. All right, so let's use, you can use the point of your take your pick tool, or you could use the point of a pair of scissors and just lift them up like this. And I'm going to have one down here on the main part of the card, and I'm going to have another one actually underneath my Be Happy. And then I'm going to have a little one up above my circle. Like that. There we go. I'm going to call that a finished card. What do you think? Do we like it? So which was your favorite? Which one do you think, maybe not your favorite necessarily, but which bubble wrap technique do you think you're most likely to use? So you're going to use it like just plain? Would you like to mix it up with some watercolor paper and some water when you spritz it? Or would you heat emboss with it and make it a shiny piece? So there we go. That's what we have today, guys. And what do we think? I'd love to know what you think of this technique. I like the watercolor paper one too, Julian. That's my favorite. The spritzing, says Jenny. Yep, me too. I'm very biased though. And Leslie, you like the Versamark, so you like this one. And Suzanne said the same. She likes the embossed one as well. Michelle likes the watercolor. Maggie likes the watercolor. So yeah, everybody has a different take on it, and it's very individual. And of course, by changing colors, you might decide that you like a different one. If I was to do it in, say, Berry Burst, or one of the purples or something like that, that would look really nice. That's okay. You're very welcome, guys. So I'm hoping I will see some of you back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock, same time again tomorrow for Craft Along. This month we are doing, like I said, a Christmas in July theme, and I'm using all the new online exclusive products to come up with a fantastic. And for tomorrow, we're actually going to be making a tag box with tags inside. So I'm hoping that those of you who've got the supply packs will really enjoy working with that. And how do you get a supply pack? You just need to place an order with me by the end of the previous month. So if anyone has placed an order of $60 or more with me this month, July, by the 31st of July, which is tomorrow, then you will get the supplies in the mail to make the project next month, the August craft along, and that theme is still to be decided. So I hope that some of you will be back tomorrow to share that with me. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to show that, actually. All right, let me go back. So here I am. I hope that you guys enjoyed that today. I think these kind of techniques where you're using household products and mucking around with ink, I think it's a lot of fun. You can make a mess, but it's also a ton of fun. If you have grandkids or children that love to play around with inks, and you're looking for like school holiday activities or something like this, it's a great activity to do with them, because they can have a lot of fun with it as well. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for sharing with me today. Thanks for all your great ideas. Because of you guys, we end up with cards that I don't necessarily know we're going to end up with. So it's a nice surprise for me too. I like seeing what you guys come up with for ideas. And it's always a really fun sharing session between what I end up doing and what you guys suggest. All right, guys. See you soon. And I'll be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.